Hey guys, I'm Jacinta Robinson and welcome to the Fearlss podcast, where I interview incredible athletes or specialists in the area of health. On the podcast today, I speak with an athlete that from a very young age had played almost every sporting activity under the sun and was extremely successful at it. He was obsessed with pushing his body physically. In fact, by the age of 15, he'd already traveled around the world as a professional sports athlete. Though at the age of 22, he was diagnosed with testicular cancer, and this required surgery to remove the tumor, along with a round of chemotherapy. As an extreme competitive person, he viewed the cancer as a challenge, an opportunity to grow into a stronger, better version of himself. A father, fitness model, bodyweight training expert, and cancer survivor, I'd like to welcome Matt Fox. So from traveling around the world as a professional athlete to being diagnosed with cancer to now a father and an inspiration around the world. Welcome to the podcast, Matt.
Thank you for having me.
Man, you're incredible. I've been checking out your Instagram and you've got a great physique, and I can see why many people are inspired by like everything that you do actually, from your lifestyle, going from your fitness to your food. But I'd love to know, take us back to the start, Matt. Like, how did you get into traveling around the world as a professional athlete?
So I was playing tennis, which is obviously a sport that you have to do around the world to once you get to a certain level anyway. I was traveling for that, and I got to live in some cool places. I lived in Europe for 4 years, I think, before coming home. So that was why I got to travel. And yeah, obviously I was, through all the training there, I was always in the fitness space, I guess, exercise and things like that. So I learned a bit through that. I was always energetic from that and always used to training long days and long sessions and stuff. So it taught me a lot. It was good to learn. From a young age, I was traveling overseas. So I think I was 15 when
Wow.
I went on my first overseas trip. So it teaches you a few things, independence and a bit of discipline and things like that.
How
That's
did you
good.
get into tennis? Like, what got you to tennis?
I don't know. I did like every sport when I was young. And then I think I just started enjoying playing tennis more with friends after school. I can remember doing that. And then I just kept going from there.
Yeah. And do you feel like, because you've had different experience in different sports, do you feel like it's a lot of pressure in that sport, especially playing at a high level?
I mean, for sure more than a team sport, because everything depends on you.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't, so the spotlight's always on you, and I've done team sports as well. So yeah, definitely compared to team sports, it's a lot more pressure. And it's also probably one of the hardest sports to play in terms of all the attributes that you need, I guess, to be good. So, you're hitting a moving ball over a height target in between certain lines. So you got to worry about width. You got to worry about depth. The ball's also moving. You got to be able to play for a long time. You got to be quick, agile, strong. So it's like, yeah, it's a difficult game.
Yeah. And so, like, training for tennis, what kind of, like, I know this is probably years ago now, are you doing more agility based training for that? Or like, do you do any strength training? Like what?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, you do everything. Yeah, for sure. You've got to have, as I said, you've got to be strong. You've got to have endurance. You've got to have speed and agility. So you kind of got to cover everything.
Yeah, right. Sounds, like you'd have to have that stamina on the court for sure.
Yeah, I used to spend a lot of time just running up mountains we'd do like 4 or 5 hours of fitness a day sometimes.
Wow.
So
That's insane.
without even playing on the court.
Yeah. And what's your most memorable moment?
Oh, I'm not sure. Just the travel, I guess, going to different places, like on the lower level of the professional circuit. you go to really interesting places, not always glamorous too, like not the places you see on TV. So I've gone to tiny little, not tiny, but I've gone to little towns that people have never heard of, in Morocco and Tunisia and different islands around Central America and stuff like that. So yeah, probably just experiencing different spots that I would never go to otherwise, I guess.
Yeah, how fascinating. Amazing that
Yeah.
they have the matches there. Like it's not
Yeah,
just the
well,
popular.
it's just such a global sport now that
Mm.
literally every nation plays it. Like when I was back playing, I can remember there were tournaments in Iran. Pretty much every African country had them. Like you could go everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Did you
yeah.
go to Iran?
No, I never went. I was actually close to going one time, but I never ended up going.
Yeah, right. I think that would be an amazing experience just to see the
Yeah,
different culture.
yeah.
Yeah. So you went from that and then you got diagnosed with cancer. So how did you find out?
Uh, well, I went to the doctor and then I told him that I wanted a scan, which he said I probably didn't really need. But I kind of just had a feeling that something was wrong, like mentally within me.
Hmm.
So I pushed towards getting that happening, and then obviously, yeah, we're getting ultrasound and the scan and things like that showed that up. So it was a
And
quick process from there.
yeah, right. And then you had like chemotherapy. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, around the chemotherapy and operation and yeah, all that fun stuff.
Yeah. And I was reading an article about how, like, I'm not sure if you wrote this, but it said that after all of this, because obviously your career had, it wasn't going to be moving forward in that direction that you thought that it was going to be moving forward. It said in this particular article that you lost a little bit of your confidence. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Well, I don't know if it was confidence, but definitely motivation to like travel again.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped playing tennis. I just found like it was because I was home for probably the longest period in 8 years after that all happened, and I enjoyed being home and having kind of a normal life, I guess. So yeah, I lost motivation to travel and to do everything required to go out and play tennis again. So all the training and things like that. So that yeah, it wasn't because of the illness. Like I could have gone back again, I'm sure, but it was a setback in terms of that I was out for a extended period of time anyway, and things like that. So
Mm.
yeah,
And then
more confident. So
during that
more
time,
motivation than confidence.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And so did you feel like, because I'm sure there's many people that are listening that have felt that there's been like a bump in the road that's stopping them from moving forward. And like, what was your next step? Like during that period where you kind of lost the motivation, how did you regain that motivation to become what you are now?
Mm, I probably. Well, I just like to exercise because I'd obviously always been active.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kept that. I didn't have the pressure from tennis. So I just trained myself. I was in the gym and I just liked exercising and keeping fit anyway. So I guess it was easier to just go in and do a gym session, five times a week than it was tennis training. So it wasn't that hard um, to do that, as it was only on me really. But yeah, I don't know. I guess after getting sick as well, that you think about your health a little bit more too. So then it was still a priority. Um, yeah, it would have taken a little while, but it's like 10 years ago now, so I can't really remember the
Mm.
specifics. But I know then I know I lost motivation going to the gym too, but that's a bit more recent, so I kind of remember that a bit better.
Yeah. Well, dive in deep. Tell us about that. What stopped you like from going to the gym?
Well, I was going to the gym probably from about 20, obviously all through tennis as well. There was gym stuff, but from about 22, 23 to about 20, 28, I was going to the gym, and I just kind of lost motivation the last year or two from doing that, just for the same thing, boring, and probably hit a bit of a wall in terms of seeing results, and got sick of going to work and then driving back in peak hour traffic, and then getting to the gym, and the gym was like peak hour at 5 p.m. because everyone's doing the same thing, and I just felt like my workouts, like I was only going for the sake of having to go because I thought that was the only way
Yeah.
to stay in shape. So I wasn't enjoying it. It was purely just making myself go because I felt like if I didn't go, then I'd lose my fitness, I'd lose what I'd gained over the 10 years or whatever. And then I got to a point where I just couldn't do it anymore. It was just doing my head in, and I wanted a bit more freedom, and I wanted to try something else. And that's how I got into, like calisthenics and bodyweight training, because it gave me the freedom to do it, lunch break at work. I'd go down to the beach. Used to work close to the beach, or I could go to the Oval. I'd go home and I'd go to the beach on the way back from work, or if I didn't want to leave, I'd do a workout at home. And it was great because I'd get everything done, and I didn't have to worry about the traffic. I didn't have to worry about the people at the gym. And then I got really good results. Like my body changed heaps in like 3 or 4 months after stopping the gym for the better. And then I was sold.
In what way? Like what was the changes that you had?
Felt better, and physically looked a lot better. I'd put on more muscle, had more definition. Never had six-pack before in my life until those 4 months after that. Then I did. A little bit of vanity on that one, but yeah. So yeah, in every way, I guess. Mentally as well, because again, I wasn't just dragging myself there for the sake of doing it. Like I was actually excited to exercise again. It was fun. So
And
yeah.
do you think that you got more muscle because, like, bodyweight training, I believe it's harder. Like you're using your whole physique when you're doing moves. Is that why you reckon that you got more muscle?
Yeah, I think exactly because what you said, because so many bodyweight exercises require multiple muscles to be working at the same time. And core, I touched on core and definition in the core, because your core is pretty much needed in every bodyweight exercise. So you're constantly working it indirectly, even when you're not directly working it. But yeah, overall, it just requires more muscles. You're not locked into a machine, so you're not, going on one movement pattern. You're not spending time isolating one muscle group. So I think that just, sped it up, which is nice.
Yeah, of course. Everybody wants to be a great physique all over. So tell me, I see on the Instagram you do a lot of HIIT training. Tell me the benefits of why you would choose like a HIIT style workout to I don't know, let's say go for a run. Like what do you think is the benefits?
For me, it is results based, and then time efficiency too. Like I can go for a jog for 60 minutes and I won't really be sweating, and I won't really feel like I've done a workout that I wanted to do. Then I can do a workout how I train now for 40 minutes and be absolutely exhausted everywhere, like full body, dripping in sweat, in less than an hour that I could go for a jog. So just for me, like the time efficiency for it and the results are the big thing.
Yeah, I like I'm totally the same, but I do enjoy the mental side of the running. Like I think because it's like when you have like the HIIT training, it's really enjoyable because you keep changing exercises and stuff. And then going for a run, it's like, oh my God, it's the same thing. But I think that mental challenge is also good.
Yeah, well, actually, I never do long runs. Like the longest I've ever ran would be 15 Ks, which I think city to surf is, which I did last year for the first time ever in Sydney.
Yeah.
But on the weekend, I ran 31 kilometres around an oval, so just around in circles.
Wow.
For a friend who his birthday, he was turning 40. So he ran 40 kilometres, but I joined them after they were already 9 into the 40 because I had work Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, without any running practice whatsoever, I did 31 kilometres around an oval. So
How did
That
you
was a mental
go?
challenge as well.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what's the difference for you, like with the mentally challenging aspect compared to like the long run to the HIIT training?
I mean, sometimes like you have to kind of have a fair bit of motivation to go and do HIIT training often too, because it's hard.
Mm,
So, like this morning, I took Sunday off as an example. After the run, I took Sunday off and I trained this morning, and it wasn't HIIT training at all. It was like longer rests and things like that because I know that I'm still pretty tired. I can feel it in my legs and I feel mentally I'm a bit tired. So, there was no point doing a HIIT style workout.
mm,
I just want to, get moving again and get back into it. So I think sometimes it's not. I don't think you can do HIIT, every day, twice a day, or whatever like that, because it does take it out of you physically, but also mentally. Because I think you've got to be really, 100% motivated to go in if you want to do it proper.
mm.
So every so often, like a bit of a jog or something to mix it up is good too. I do that, but yeah, I wouldn't be running 30Ks just for fun of it.
I don't think I would either.
No. I mean, when I do, on the odd occasion that I do decide to go for a jog, it'd probably be like 6 kilometers.
Yeah.
And I'd run along the beach, and that'd just be like a bit of a change of scenery and just something to keep active.
Mm. And
Yeah.
you, like you just said before, the HIIT training, you recommended that it's not something that should be done that often. Do you believe that's because
Well, not that
the
often. I mean, I would still do like, I think it depends on your level too. Like, I wouldn't advise a beginner to go and do like 6 HIIT sessions a week.
mm,
But I've been training this way for like 4 years, body weight style, high intensity workouts and stuff like that. So I know what I can do and I know when I should rest my body.
mm,
Um, I still think someone starting out can easily do three to four HIIT sessions a week. But
mm.
again, it would vary to the individual too, and their level and how quick they recover and things like that.
Mm. I think it depends, like what you said, the underlying base of their fitness level. Like, is their body conditioned to be doing
Yeah, exactly.
plyometric work or strength or
Yeah,
whatever it may be?
yeah.
And what do you do for recovery? Like, I know you said you had a rest day, but do you do yoga or do you do any stretching or what's your
I pretty
thing?
much did nothing yesterday. Um, I mean, I went for a walk. I normally always go for a walk. I'll go for a walk with the family and stuff. Uh, I had a nap. That's kind of, and I just and I eat a lot of food normally.
Yeah.
I should be doing more yoga, but yeah, that's something I'm slowly integrating into everything.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Are you into any like heat therapy or cold therapy or breathing techniques? Like, do you do any of that
yeah. I
stuff?
mean, I think all that stuff's great. I probably should have done a bit of that yesterday, like ice bath and stuff, but yeah, I didn't, to be honest. And surprisingly, I feel all right today. I thought I'd be a lot worse the days after that, but there you go.
I think it's really good that you kept moving though, like because otherwise you would have had more lactic buildup if you weren't flushing out the system and
Oh yeah, like a rest day for me is never like lying on the couch though. It's always
mm,
like I'd still go for a walk. I've got a young son, so that's never a rest.
yeah.
Yeah.
So before you said you eat lots of food. Now, did you make the switch from meat to plants? Is that correct?
Yeah, I did, but I still occasionally eat meat.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm in control, like just people ask me what do you eat, I say, oh, I'm probably about 90% like plant based.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I kind of just mean by when I go to the supermarket or when I'm cooking at home, then I'll eat that way. But if I go out to a restaurant or I go to a friend's place, then I'll just eat whatever they've made or whatever the restaurant's got. And I mean,
Mm.
I don't go out for dinner that often. So that's about 10% of my food intake, I'd say.
Yeah. And what
Yeah.
made you decide to go that way?
I just wanted to try it again. The same with training, like quitting the gym. and go to bodyweight training, it all just started from wanting to try it.
Mm.
Because you can't really criticize stuff that you haven't tried, I guess. And then I felt good from it. I didn't notice a negative difference. It was probably cheaper to eat that way too. Like people think, and it's nice. I don't know. It's just different, I guess. I felt like I was eating too much meat as well, which can't be good. Like kilogram of chicken a day and stuff like that. Like, so I wanted to change, and then there was no negative, effects from that. So I didn't stop.
And did you notice anything physically? Like, did you have a little bit more energy, like with your workouts, or were you like mentally different? Or
Yeah, I mean, probably a bit more energy. Definitely, like straight after I've eaten, I didn't feel heavy or like a food coma or whatever. There's none of that really, and you can eat a heap. So I felt like I could eat a heap of food, and then I wouldn't feel bloated. I wouldn't feel heavy. I wouldn't feel like a bit sluggish and stuff like that. I was like good to go again. Like I could almost go for a run straight after eating. Whereas if I was eating, a lot of meat and dairy and stuff like that, then I never felt that way. But I did stop eating. It wasn't a huge transition because I hadn't eaten dairy or eggs for probably a year prior to that anyway. Dairy maybe even longer. It was more just the meat that was the biggest change.
And did you give up dairy for any reason?
I just didn't. Used to give me stomach aches and bloating and stuff like that, and I just didn't feel that good, and I don't think it's that good for you. So if you do a bit of research, I think I don't think it's the greatest thing. I don't think we need it. Adults don't need it. Like calcium for your bones and stuff, there's plenty of other ways to get calcium rather than drinking cow's milk. So
Yeah, I think marketing is fantastic what they've achieved.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think there's another mammal on the planet that still drinks milk past a certain age, let alone another animal's milk.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird when you think about it, I reckon. But
it is so weird. So
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
I think we get to, I can't remember if it's like 5 or 7, but after that point in our life, our body doesn't produce this particular thing that helps to break down the milk. That's why we have problems like lactose intolerance, just because our body can't digest it properly.
Yeah. And I mean, I read, like, I've known this for a while, but it was something like how the dairy companies try and, say the calcium thing and osteoporosis for the weak bones and things like that. But the States, USA, they're the highest consumers of cow's milk, but they've also got the highest rate of osteoporosis and bone density issues.
It's
so
insane.
It shouldn't be that way, right? If they were drinking all the cow's milk, they should have the strongest.
Absolutely. It's crazy. Like it definitely doesn't produce will give us calcium, that's for sure. They've proven that now, so that's cool.
Yeah.
So do you you said that you eat a lot of food. What's a lot? Like what are we talking? Do you track your food, or you're just talking about like big meals every day? Or
I used to track my food, but I've kind of stopped probably pretty much the past year, because I eat a lot of similar foods now. So I know probably the overall calorie intake of, pretty close. Yeah, I mean, it's a reasonable amount of food, I think. When I'm with friends or when I'm with people, they normally comment on how much I'm eating, which is obviously a bit different to them. So I guess it stands out. Yeah.
And do you because you would train hundreds of people, what are the main things that you see that people go wrong with their food?
Oh, that's a good question, actually. I think the biggest one for me was people's fear with carbs, and like people like afraid of carbs, and they think if they stop eating carbs, then they're going to lose weight. That's probably the biggest thing I've seen. Everyone, I want to lose weight, so I just cut out carbs. I mean, you can cut out any food group and lose weight then, because it's going to take a big percentage of your daily intake.
Mm.
I started physically looking better, not just feeling, because we're talking about physical effects, when I started to eat more carbs. Anyway, so I actually was losing body fat, eating more carbs.
Mm.
And then too, like the mathematical fact about it is there's one gram of carbohydrates is 4 calories, 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So you can eat twice as much carbs, gram, weight wise, and still have the same calories. So if you're hungry, it almost makes sense, doesn't it? Like you get to eat more for less calorie value if that's your problem. If you're counting calories and worried about lowering your calories, well, wouldn't you want to eat more and stay under your number, and then you'd be more fulfilled anyway, I think.
Mm.
But
I think,
again, like it's marketing too and all that.
yeah, absolutely. I think people are in this perception of that they need to have more protein because that was what was pushed out into the market and reduce the carbohydrates. And there's just so much information out there, like that is just too confusing. And I think it needs to be stripped back to the basics and work out how you feel. Like you said, like you feel amazing. And I know I certainly feel so good when I have like a big amount of rice or sweet potato, and you just have the energy and you can put more into the workout rather than feeling like drained and mentally so challenged to keep pushing through that workout. Do you eat a lot of protein, or do you like what are you eating for protein?
I'm probably eating less protein. Or not probably, I'm definitely eating less protein the past few years than what I was, because again, like I was always under that belief, as you said, you got to smash the protein and stuff like that. But now for protein, I guess I just had food right before this actually. So I had tofu, and then a fake meat burger patty with then another veggie patty, which was like a patty just made out of sweet potato and corn and different vegetables just mashed together. And then I had fried zucchini as well. So that's like I very similar to that a lot of the time. Oats, I ate a lot of oats, bananas. But yeah, I'd be easily 30 to 40% less protein than what I used to have, I guess.
Mm. And you haven't noticed any change within the body, hey?
No, just for better.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I was just speaking to James Newbury. He's a CrossFitter last week, and he was saying the same thing. He completely reduced down his protein when he went vegan, and yet he's performing better, and his physique looks incredible. I think it's just like the more athletes that are making the switch are realizing that it's actually not what we've been told, and I think that's so amazing to see it.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to marketing and probably like the meat industry a bit with that one as well. With get your protein and you need protein to perform. I mean, you do need protein; it's an important macronutrient, but you don't need as much as what everyone was what they try and make you believe, I guess, especially in the fitness space.
Mm. Do you take any supplements? Like, do you have a protein powder, or do you take anything additional, or you just have that from your food?
No, I take this product called Reboot from a company Be Spunky, which is just like it's a male supplement, so it helps boost. It's all made of herbs. It's all natural products, so it's like it helps boost natural testosterone. It helps with recovery, energy throughout the day. Pretty much everything. It's almost like a multivitamin, but the best multivitamin that I've ever had, I guess, because they never really did anything. So I take that every day, and then I have a smoothie in the morning, and that's vegan protein. Mm-hmm. And then I take mushroom extracts. So that's the only supplements that I take.
Oh, cool. What's the mushroom extract? What is it? Is it reishi or?
Yeah, I have that one sometimes at night. It helps relax a bit. But the two ones that I have every day lion's mane and cordyceps. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Yeah, I know lion's mane.
Yeah,
And actually, I know both of them. And
yeah.
what's the reasoning behind why you have them?
Just I think the benefits, like they're learning more and more about the benefits of it. I've felt the benefits of it. So again, I'm doing it because I tried it and I noticed the difference.
Mm,
So, I mean, people that say, how does that work and try and knock it, if they haven't tried it, then you can't really knock it. So that's the reason I'm staying on it, because it actually, for me, it works.
yeah.
So, and it's from mushrooms, so there's no chemicals. Everything's natural. Works well.
I think mushrooms are incredible. Like, you're right. The research coming out is just showing so much more evidence on how that helps benefit the body, even though it sounds like, oh, funky, oh, Jesus.
Yeah, for
But it
sure.
has incredible benefits. So, say, Matt, for the listeners listening in now,
Yep.
with your experience in the industry of fitness and food, what would be some advice for people out there? I'm assuming that you would deal with these clients that are trying to lose that little bit of fat. So they're on a fitness journey, and they're just trying to, get that extra fat burn. What would be your tips for that?
I think like the last little bit of fat, is that what you're referring to? Like
Yeah.
stubborn, but yeah, that's kind of patience, I think, for one thing,
Mm.
because they don't call it stubborn belly fat for nothing. Um, a lot of the time, that's where we hold it. The last place you hold it, I guess. For me as well, that's when I was, finally starting to see visible abs and things like that. I can remember that last little bit took, was kind of frustrating. Um, but I just stayed patient because I knew what I'd been doing was working, because it obviously got me to that point where I could even start to see something. So yeah, obviously patience, but then training as well. I think in that period where I made the change from gym to bodyweight training, I didn't change my diet. My diet was the same. The only thing that changed was the training, and that's
Mm.
how my physique changed. So I
Mm.
think you've got to look at how you're training as well, um, from that standpoint of view,
Mm.
because it makes a big difference.
And do you mean like intense, like more
Yeah,
hit training?
intensity wise, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was just going from like, normal kind of gym weightlifting session with a decent amount of rest in between each set, and then standing around and talking to friends and things like that, to, from being in the gym for 90 minutes to then training for 45 minutes,
Mm.
but just going pretty much, flat out minimal rests. And that made a big difference as well.
Mm. And then for the like food, what if someone's listening to this and like, okay, sweet, I'm gonna start doing some hit training,
Yeah.
and of course, like they're patient with what they're doing anyway, with the
Yeah.
consistency of doing it. Um, do you feel like with food that they should be? Do you feel people should be super strict, or do you think there should be a balance to the food, and then you just focus on the consistency with training?
Well, I mean, you have to know that you're in a calorie deficit as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to want to be eating less than what you're burning to dig into body fat. So you want to figure that out. And then in terms of being super strict, yeah, probably not crazy strict. I always found, like, when I was counting, and then I knew the number that I had to eat to still be in that deficit, that you can still eat pretty much whatever you want, if you're within that number. But, you could eat a Mars bar for 200, 250 calories, whatever it is, or you could eat actual small meal and you're going to feel better from the meal. You get a lot more from it, rather than a
Mm.
Mars bar and you're going to be hungry again in 15 minutes. So yeah, you can kind of eat what you want, but it won't help you, perform or feel full. But I think, yeah, that's probably, if they're just worried about body fat and they don't actually care how they feel or how healthy they are, then you just need to make sure that you're eating less than what you're burning.
Mm. I think at the start I've noticed with my clients say like, yep, that's what I'm going to do. and then they start feeling lethargic and they're not getting the minerals and the vitamins that they need, and then then they slowly make a transition, which I think is super important too, because you don't want to feel like you're completely taking everything away from you, because I think that sometimes also causes like the rebound effect.
Yeah, and a bit of like some binge eating and
yeah
and cheat meals that turn into days, and then and weekends full of cheat eating. So yeah, I agree.
So tell me about, like, what's the future got in store for you? Do you have any goals?
I was actually talking about that the other day. I need to make some new ones.
Yeah.
So as of right now, not really. I mean, the whole coronavirus thing interrupted a few business things, which is probably going to slow some things down, because you kind of have to start back again. So no, I don't have. I need to make some new ones.
Do you have anything like physical, like that you want to completely change? Like all of a sudden I'm going to go do an ultra run or anything like that? Like, or is that not spark your interest yet?
No, not after the weekend. I wouldn't mind doing, like, it was 31 kilometers. I was thinking about it just this morning. Like, I wouldn't mind just doing a marathon distance, like not even entering into a marathon, like just going to do it even by myself sometime.
Yeah.
I don't know why, I guess, just to say that, just to know how it feels, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty mental, I guess, especially doing around just an oval. Definitely a mental challenge. But no, nothing that comes to mind just yet, which is, I know, a bit average, but I'll think of a few things.
I think I love your philosophy about trying things to see how you feel, so therefore you have the knowledge and the understanding of how to explain that to someone when they ask you for advice, because I think that's super important, because how can you advise people if you've never tried it, you know? I think that's really cool. And Matt, tell me something, and especially for the listeners, like, you've built this strong mindset going from being knocked back. Like, what is a technique that we could apply into our life to help us keep moving forward towards our goals when we hit a bump in the road? Like, what's something that you would recommend?
It probably doesn't sound good when I just said I don't have any goals, but it would be goal setting. But I did say I need to redo that, because a part of that is always reevaluating once you've achieved certain things and then setting more goals. Yeah. So I think once you get to a certain point and you reach your goals, then obviously you've got to set another lot of goals to keep going, which I'm now need to do. So yeah, it would be goal setting, I guess, is the biggest thing, but then breaking that down into smaller goals, you know, monthly, weekly, and then daily things that can be more measurable. Because I guess if you're saying a goal that's 12 months down the track or a couple of years down the track, like some people do, that's fine. That's the idea of it. But then it is easy to lose your way too, I guess, because you're kind of getting up every morning and going through your week or whatever, and you lose track of it because you're not thinking what you really want in 3 years' time today. So you want to have that scaled back, and I think that can help overcome little roadblocks if you're pretty specific with the little stepping stones on how to get there.
Yeah, and small wins are amazing. It makes you feel motivated and keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
So I totally agree. I have the same philosophy with my goals. Break it right down, and then that way you know where you're at and you know what you're in for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Spot on.
So Matt, going out to everyone right now, is there any quote or anything specific that you would like to say to the listeners?
No quote. I just think you have to, I mean, in terms of fitness or what are you thinking?
Whatever inspires
I mean, I think it's relevant in anything in life. Yeah, you've got to, I'm a big thing about goals. So like we just touched on, you've got to have goals because you've got to know why you're getting up in the morning. And that doesn't have to be fitness or body related at all. It can be family and personal life and employment, whatever. So yeah, I think goals is a big thing. And then just to understand that shit stuff's going to happen to you because that's just part of it as well. So you've got to learn to view that as a challenge, I guess, and that it's happening to make you stronger in whatever way it is, and then you can overcome it, and that you know you can do it again and again.
Absolutely. I think that having that mindset is uber important because,
yeah,
like you said, these challenges are there to help propel you for the bigger challenge.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, cool. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today, Matt. And
Thanks,
how will the guys get in chat with you? Is it through Instagram or Facebook? What's the best way?
Yeah, Instagram, YouTube, and then my website.
Perfect.
So yeah, what am I? Matty C Fox on Instagram, Matt Fox Coach on YouTube, and then my website is bodyweightbuilt.com.
Awesome. Well, I'll put all the links below for everyone listening, so that way they can get in contact with you.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Jacinta.